Hello. Hello. Hello, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, I think daylight is just peeking through, but not really, at 5:54 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Sorry, Central Standard Time, but savings, daylight savings, daylight saving time is coming back, unfortunately. All right. I have two 40% alcohol single malt Scotch whiskeys. Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, distilled and bottled for Trader Joe's. This is for Trader Joe's grocery chain, expanding in Louisiana as we speak. Sherry cask finish, double maturation. First cask, second cask. I don't know when it was introduced. Could have been a long time ago. Trader Joe's was founded in 1967. I don't know how long they've been selling private label, but people say, I read a good article said since the early 70s. This single malt has been matured in traditional oak casks until it has achieved the perfect balance of aromas and flavors. The whiskey is then transferred to casks that previously held premium sherry, allowing further development, increasing the depth of flavor. From Hamish Robertson of Scotland. So it's bottled by an independent bottling company called Hamish Robertson. They don't put any liquor, they just buy it, like at an auction or whatever, and they bottle it. And in this case, for Trader Joe's. Here is Trader Joe's Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey, aged 8 years, matured in oak cask. Makes sense because all whiskey has to be matured in oak cask. So that's a meaningless statement. This one's got like a ship wheel on it, steering wheel. It's got like a maroon label. This one is also maroon and dark maroon. So dark red is the choice they made. Both use clear glass, not going to protect it from the light. This is from Alistair Duncan Bottling Company, Glasgow, Scotland. There's a big write-up on the back. Neither one of these have a website listing, so I can't show you the website. Trader Joe's doesn't list any scotch on their website, but they do list bourbon and other stuff. They talk about the Speyside, next to the Spey River, the Speyside area of Scotland, the Kingdom of Scotland. Trader Joe's 8-year-old Speyside single malt has been aged in the very finest oak cask, the very finest. That means there's none better. Okay, get that? For over 8 years. This excellent whiskey is light. I'm not saying it's excellent. I don't agree that it's excellent, but they say so. Is light honey and gold in color. Now here they got color spelled the American way, not color or color, with flavors of caramel, dried apricots, vanilla, and light cinnamon spice, leading to a smooth oaky finish. Price. What's the price? Well, I'll tell you what I paid for them 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago in May. It'll be April or May. That's my receipt for this computer, which I'm not too happy about. The previous Hewlett-Packard computer just basically stopped working this year after only 3 years. Went to Walmart. The only good desktop they looked like they had was another Hewlett-Packard. And I've heard bad things about this brand, and I believe it. Okay, and I paid over $500. I paid $599 plus tax for this thing. It better last a long time, but I'm not confident at all. And I see people paying a lot of money for their phone. Sometimes, like they tell me $1,200, but they won't keep it very long. Okay, sometimes maybe a few years. Okay, all right, enough of that. All right. The single malt. I can't read it. Speyside 8-year was $19.99. $19.99. The sherry cask finish Highland was $17.99. You say for single malt Scotch? Yeah. $17.99 for this one, sherry cask finish. $19.99 for the 8-year aged. I don't know. That seems pretty low price for what they claim is the finest oak casks in the world. Seems like it would be $199.99 and higher, right? Now I see water droplets up here. It's evaporated. The water's evaporated because look how low I am. Real cork. So let me moisturize the cork. I've had 3 instances of dry rot cork. 3, and I had to go through a whole big production to get to the whiskey. And it's real cork. It's not even that particle board cork. It's real hunk of cork. A real hunk of cork. There. Focus. You can do it. Sometimes this camera can't get focus in the dark. And it's daylight coming, but I'm in the dark. Like Blue Oyster Cult. In the dark, I found you. All right. In the dark, I need you. Now pour the correct amount. It's gold. It's just gold. Gold. Now this is that, I call it particle board cork. It's like little chips of cork and they're held together by a resin. It's still real cork, you know, but it's like processed cork. Oh well. Looks nicer than a twist cap. I haven't been too impressed with Trader Joe's single malt Scotch whiskeys. I have to tell you, you don't need to do that. You really don't need to try to knock that bottle over. You were over there relaxing and being good. So go back and relax and be good. You wore yourself out, run it all through the house for hours. She ran through the house for hours, one end of the house to the other, chasing after these little red pom-pom balls with sparkles on them. People use them in crafts, like arts and crafts, to make wreaths or whatever, and they're soft, spongy, and they're red, and they have the little sparkles all over them, like little sparkly tails or tentacles, and which get left all over the house after them. But she runs from one end to the other chasing those things. She got 2 of them. There was 3, but I think one got lost underneath something because she knocks them. She can't get to them. And she just goes crazy running. I got big balls that she could chase after. Bigger cat toy balls, like little tennis balls, but she won't. She don't really like to chase those at all. She likes to chase only those red, I call them pom-poms. And then she likes to put them in my shoes. When I have my shoes off, she put 2 of them in my shoe the other day, and I went to put my shoe on. I said, "What is this?" And there was 2, and she'll put them in there. I don't know what the reasoning is for that. All right. So they're both, well, actually, this is darker. This is the sherry cask. So I got to remix them because I know it's the cask. It's dark. Sherry, is that a good type of wine to drink? Well, it depends on who you are and what you like to drink. I like to sip on it, but you can't drink too much sherry. You'll be You will feel like sherry. Say, you're gonna feel like sherry. Who's sherry? Oh, that drunk lady. No, I say there's so many different types of sherry. The one from England was actually from Spain, but it's an English company that owns it. It's called Bristol Cream, Harvey's Bristol Cream. And it's real creamy, like sweet, creamy sherry. It's awesome. But you can only drink about 3 or 4 ounces, or you ask her. You can't drink it like a regular wine, like a whole glass of wine. You're out of your mind if you do that. That thing's 18 to 20% sherry, man. The low alcohol sherry is like 17%. Then they also have port wine. That's very high alcohol, up to 20%. Sometimes you'll see it. And Madeira wine is another high alcohol, super strong wine. Marsala is another odd flavored tasting one. It's strong. It has a weird flavor because of the way they produce it. I guess the weird yeast they put in it. A lot of people cook with that. Chicken Marsala, for instance. But you could cook with any of those, like sherry. Like if you scrambling eggs and you pour just a little bit in there, it'll make the eggs taste different. And there's a brand called Taylor Sherry, excellent for cooking. It's called Taylor Sherry, excellent for cooking. It's from New York State. They used to call it Taylor Cooking Sherry, but they had to change the name because cooking sherry is actually a food product that has a lot of salt. It's not suitable for drinking. They'll sell that in the like the olive oil section of a store, the vinegar section. So they had to change the name to Taylor Sherry, excellent for cooking. You can drink it. It's a drinkable product, but it is designed for cooking. There's another sherry brand that we used to get in Louisiana, but I haven't seen it for a long time, called Crabari. And that's another one that was made mainly for cooking, but you could drink it too. It's not technically a cooking sherry, but it's mostly used for cooking. And apparently a lot of chefs get in trouble with alcoholism because they cook all day and they sipping on this sherry all day while they're cooking, sneaking little sips. I don't know if that's just a rumor. Okay. Smells like a lot of wood here. Wood, oak, bread from the barley. Oh, man. Now, single malt scotch doesn't have a blend. It's produced at a single distillery using only barley malt. It's not grain whiskey like corn or rice whiskey or rye whiskey blended together with single malt. It's just the single malts, the malted barley is what they mean. They mean malted barley. Less wood, more wine. It smells like wine. A little bit. So why do they finish it in sherry casks? Maybe let it stay in a sherry cask for a year, a wine barrel. Well, because they want it to smell and taste like sherry. All right, obviously. Ta-da! Now, the next part for my next trick. Familionaire says, why do people in the U.S. use percentages when talking about alcohol content in beer, but proof for spirits? Oh, just tradition. But I have a friend, he uses proof with beer. He'll say, what proof is this? He'll ask about a beer. What proof is it? I'll say, well, it's 10 proof, but it's 5% alcohol. And that goes back to an old 19th century practice of seeing if the whiskey was legitimate. And the way they could do it was by proving it. They would light it. And by lighting it, if it would light, then it was high proof. Dawn has arrived. Delta Dawn has arrived. Hey, Delta Dawn, what's that flower you've got on? All right. This one has an okay flavor. It's kind of like bread that's got wood in it. You say bread with wood. Yeah. It's very oaky and bitey. It's like, yeah, yikes. Could this thing stand up to like Glenlivet, Speyside, 12-year aged? No way. No chance. The Glenlivet would destroy it. What about the Glenlivet Founders Reserve, which is kind of like the base model, the economy brand? Not that it's cheap. It will wipe this out. I don't think this could beat any single malt that I have in my collection at the moment, except maybe the Glencullen, which is pretty shabby also. And I thought, wrong. I went to Albertsons 2 weeks ago, and it was packed with Glencullen. They had so much Glencullen in there that I said to myself, look at all the Glencullen they've got in here. It was like $23 or $25. It wasn't higher than $25. When I bought it, it was $20.99. It might have been $24.99 now, but still, it's low. Not as cheap as these bows though. Now see, this one over here has a little smoke. Not much, a little. You say, well, that's Highland whiskey. That's Highland whiskey. Highland whiskey doesn't have smokiness. You could say that if you want to tell me that, but I'm telling you, I know what I'm tasting, and it has a little smokiness. Not a lot, a little bit. It does have that little sherry tweak. A tweak. Let's call it a sherry tweak. It's less bitey than that thing. That thing was aged 8 years and it cost me $2 more, but it tastes $10 worse. Which beverage does your friend from the duo review videos sipping on? Oh, Milwaukee's Best Light. For 2 reasons. He likes the flavor, and he can get it for the cheapest price for any light beer. $21 a 30-pack. So that's why he buys it. He would rather buy Bud Light, but it's much more expensive, so he doesn't buy it anymore. I told him that I'm the one that came up with that idea. So why are you paying all that money for Bud Light when you could just get a 30-pack of Milwaukee's Best Light? Oh, he said, I don't think I'd like it. I said, you ever try? Well, no. I said, don't be that type of person. Don't be the type of person that doesn't like a product that they never tried. I said, you know those kind of people? You agree that they're closed-minded? He said, yeah, you're right. I'm going to try it. So he bought a 30-pack. I said, I'm telling you, you're going to like this. And he tried it, and he was like, yes, I really like it. So he switched immediately to Milwaukee's Light. Which to me tastes better than Bud personally. Yeah, this thing is too bitey. It's not a terrible product. And I would still score it like a B, 83. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. 80, B minus. It's marginally good. Yeah. A B minus is as good as an F though when you think about it, because would you ever really want to buy a product that was scored a B minus, like sort of good? It's like, wow, I want to try this. I heard it's sort of good. Can't wait to try that B minus product. You know you wouldn't be looking for it. Oh, well, of course you might try just to see if it's as underwhelming as other people claim. And you might buy it and try to say, yep, they're right. It really isn't very good. It's barely good. This one is actually excellent. It's so much better than that one. It's not even funny. It's a grim difference. And think about it. $19.99 for the barely good one. $17.99 for the excellent one, which does not have an age statement, which it's not at least 8 years if they didn't put an age statement. Maybe it's 3 years. It might be 2 years in oak and the last year in sherry oak. Still an oak cask, so that doesn't violate its legal parameters from being Scotch. You see, all the Scotch regulations of the United Kingdom say, only thing they say is got to be aged in oak barrels of a certain size. I don't remember size, but an oak barrel for at least 3 years. Doesn't say what kind of oak, which means it could be any oak. French oak, Mongolian oak, chinkapin oak, live oak, white oak, swamp oak, water oak, old wine barrels, old bourbon barrels, whatever, it doesn't matter. You say, well, that could allow a lot of variation. That could create a world of variation in Scotch. It does. That's why they don't taste like one another. You say, yeah, but in bourbon, I'm pretending somebody's talking to me. In bourbon, you can only use new charred oak barrels. New, that means they've never been used before. So that means you can only use it once for bourbon, right? Because then it would be used the second time. And I would say to you, that's correct. Would that help? Would that cut down on the variation? It would, because there's only one type, new charred oak. Well, if you're finishing it in French oak, that's allowed, but it had to be charred, you see. Well, let's say it wasn't charred. Would it still be bourbon? No, it would not be bourbon. It would be a bourbon style product, like Maker's Mark 46, I think. I don't think they actually say it's a bourbon on the label. It just says like they kind of don't say it's bourbon. It is a bourbon really, but it's finished for a few months in French. I don't think the barrels are charred. So technically it's not a bourbon. It's a distilled spirit specialty, but everybody knows it really is a bourbon. It's just finished in a different type barrel. So that's what it is. That's what makes it a distilled spirit specialty. It's a bourbon finish in another type of barrel, which would be illegal to bourbon. So that's how they describe it. I'm sorry, that's how they describe it. Bourbon finish in French oak barrels. So not a bourbon, but a bourbon finished in French oak barrels. See, you say, well, that's a silly difference. I know, but it is technically a difference. Also, you can't age as long with bourbon. It gets too oaky after about 10 to 12 years. All you'll taste is oak. Really, I've never had a bourbon that old, so I can't testify to that, but it sounds plausible. It's like you can't add flavoring to bourbon. You can't add coloring to bourbon. You can't add coloring or flavoring unless it's blended bourbon. That's the type you can. Or if it's a blend of straight bourbons, you can add flavoring and coloring. Strange, right? But if it's just regular old bourbon, you can't add flavoring. Now, I can go to the store and find bourbon with flavoring. Bourbon with natural flavors. I can find it right there. You say, you just said you couldn't do it. No, you can't. It's not called bourbon. It's bourbon with natural flavors. You say, wink, wink. Get it? It's not a bourbon. It's a bourbon with natural flavors. That's kind of a technical difference, isn't it? But it is a difference. Most people don't care about the difference, but it is a difference. Walmart right there got bourbon with natural flavors, and you'll never see an age statement on it. They'll never have an age statement on that because it's actually illegal to put an age statement on that. Illegal. True story. Okay. But beyond that, this is a Trader Joe's Sherry Cask Finish. And it is a real Scotch, not a distilled spirit specialty Scotch-based product. It's a real Scotch whiskey. I got it. I got it. I knew I'd get it. You know why I knew? Because I knew I hated this product. Well, I guess I don't exactly hate it, but I'm close to hating it. I'm real close to hating it. You know, I don't like it. I'd never buy it again. No way. I wouldn't even recommend it. Unless you have a perverse sense of adventure. You say, oh, I like to find the worst products. They got a there's a YouTube channel they call them Bottle Hunter. I think they're called Bottle Hunters. A married, well, I assume they're married. I don't know. Maybe they're shacking up, as we say on the streets. But they always review like really cheap liquor. That's what their channel is. They find the cheapest liquor they can find, they review it. And they always talk about it's terrible, it's terrible. But then they'll kind of go around and at the end they're like, well, it's not really terrible. It's bad, but you know, we'll drink it, you know. Oh, when some people come to our house that want to drink all our good stuff, we'll let them drink this, you know, but they kind of have fun with it. Like they know it's bad, but they kind of like it because, you know, they wouldn't do 1,000 videos on cheap hooch if they hated it. But, you know, they do crazy stuff like, I don't know, stuff like I do, Crystal Palace gin. You say, you mean the stuff that vagrants drink on a park bench? Yeah, kind of like it's what they do. But, it, you know, it's all right. They just having fun with it. Okay. Make Dave drink beer. He is drinking beer. When Lent is over, I won't have to make him drink beer because when Easter Sunday comes, he's going to drink it. All right. Anyway, so question: does Trader Joe's 8-year age Speyside single malt stack up to the Highland Sherry Cask Finish whiskey? No way. It gets killed. It's a wipeout. And it costs $2 more for the bad product or the nearly bad product. So does price always matter? Not always. It usually does. But in this case, it definitely does not. And the next one I have coming up is Trader Joe's 10-year aged, which is a little bit better. It's a white label. It's a little bit better, but it ain't really too much better. It's not really too good either, from my memory, you know, from recollection. Actually, none of them are really very good, except for this one over here to my right. This is the only one that's good, and it's actually excellent. I give this an A. I give this like a 93. 83, 93. You say 10 percentage points. Yep, that's how big of a difference it is. Excellent whiskey, barely good whiskey. Oh man. Well, that's y'all Trader Joe's. I didn't make it. Y'all had it made for you. You know, I bought it, so I'm gonna tell you how I think about it. All right, or what I think about it. That's it. Now, then I'll go through all of those, and then I'll bring in all my other single malts. You know, the Glencullen, which is like a dumpster fire in some sense of it. And then, well, you know, I got the regular old, I got the Jura Journey, now called Jura Bourbon Cask. That's a wonderful product. I've got the Glen Moray Elgin Classic. Now they just call it the Classic. Really wonderful product. I got it for $24.99 at Walmart. True story. The price is skyrocketed. I have the Tomatin Legacy, but called Dualcus in the United States. In the United States, called Dualcus, because there's a Scotch called Legacy already, so they can't use that name. So they just call it Dualcus, which is the Scottish word for legacy. You know. But I've got the Lismore, which is beautiful. I got the Finlagen, which is awesome, smoky. I got the Benriach Speyside, a smoky Speyside. Now, you don't see that too much. It's a smoke. That's an amazing product, no longer made, discontinued. I hate to say it. At the Glenrothes, 15-year aged, 15 years. That's awesome. I got Glenglassaugh Evolution. The company went out of business last year. I'm not even kidding about that. Went out of business. The distillery is closed. You say, why would they close it? Because whiskey crashed. The whiskey industry has crashed. The craft beer industry has crashed. You could snap your fingers. Every time you snap your fingers, another brewery has closed. Glenglassaugh is DOA, dead on arrival. But I have a bottle and I got it for cheap, so maybe that's why I got it cheap. I got a 50. I think I looked it up. It was $58. It was a $58 bottle. I got it for $14.99. I'm not kidding. That's not a good sign. That is not a good sign for the brewery's future. But it's not my problem. I've got I'm just thinking of all these single malts. Oh, and I've got the Ardbeg aged 10 years. Well, no whiskey in my collection can beat Ardbeg aged 10 years. That's not even possible. There is no whiskey of any type, bourbon, malt, blended Scotch, Irish, Canadian, American blended. Well, you know that ain't gonna make it. But nothing in my collection stands a chance against Ardbeg aged 10 years. Not happening. Ardbeg aged 10 years totally annihilates every other whiskey in my collection, and it ain't even close. Not even close. And you could test that out yourself. And I got that thing for $46.99, and I'm not kidding about that. Now, I know now the price is going way up, way. But I did get it for 40, and something told me, it said, you'll never see that price again. So I paid $46.99. Oh, no, it's $44.99. I remember now, it's Star, $44.99. I couldn't believe it, $44.99. But you'll never see that price again. All right, so anyway, there's a lot of adventures coming up, many adventures coming up in tasting whiskey. But cheers to Trader Joe's Highland Sherry Cask Finish, a beautiful product, most excellent. I raised my fist and I'm like Paul Fist in Your Face. Remember Paul Fist in Your Face from SCTV? John Candy was Paul Fist in Your Face. I am putting a fist in your face, Trader Joe's Speyside 8-year age, because you are a failure. A tremendous failure. Thank you for your contribution to the community, Ron, says Shaggy. You're welcome. And Casey Kasem, a famous Arab American, was the voice of Shaggy. Now, and I am unanimous in that. All right, see y'all soon for another Scotch whiskey tasting adventure.